Hi,
the
host
line of
Eric here,
fighting.
and JC is going to explain to us why it's better to be peaceful and nice instead of always arguing about stuff. Go ahead, JC.
I don't know that I have a reason except for it being pleasant. I
think it's
think
a
okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I think it's like it's not that I don't mind disagreements. I think fighting or arguments or conflict, whatever you want to call it, I do think it's necessary in many instances. However, I think like in the cases of like debating or like what you do, ENTP debating, I feel like it just feels adversarial. I mean, it's not. I mean, even if it's not, it's just like,
Too
well,
bruising?
this is a lot. Yeah, it's harsh.
Right.
Not. I mean, even if it's not directed at me, it's just like, wow, you know. I mean, it's fine because I laugh it off, and like I know that you're not serious, so you know, it's fine. But like in my own like personal conversation, that's not how I approach them. I think I go with more. Here
and
is what I know, and now tell me what you know, and it's that type of back and forth. Not, well, you're wrong about this, and it's not pointing out flaws in other people's logic. More sharing information. And
Wait,
like
hold on. You're talking to somebody and not pointing out flaws in their logic? How does that work
I don't
again?
know. I mean, I
I
don't
know
think
what
that's
she
what
means.
No,
I don't think
it's a
that's what I
joke.
do.
I know too. I know what she means as well. Listen. The thing is that trait of finding something wrong with everything that somebody else says. There's a certain stage of ENTP development where it's really off the charts. Like I've borne witness to it with my friend David Dosh, who's an ENTP. And I stood and hung out with him for quite some time and had this conversation with him in which he did that. So literally everything I said, he'd agree with part of it and point out something that he thought was wrong with it, and um, and then I said, "Are you aware you're doing this?" Eventually, and he was like, and of course he never did it again.
I think the way I go about it is like, if I disagree with something someone says, I might, like, I take a step back and then I ask questions to make sure I fully understand exactly what they're saying, and then I present my view on it. I think that's kind of how I do it. I never say that's this, and I never say your idea is this or that. Well, that's not true because I have done that before, but I think my general approach is more like, well, I blah blah blah, and then you know, I kind of like that's kind of the way I don't say you blah blah blah. I say I this, I believe this, I think this. It's always I always refer to myself, and I think that kind of takes the harshness out of it.
Yeah, I know, but it also increases the wrongness in it. If in fact, when you say "I think this is my opinion," but actually you're right and they're wrong, then it's like allowing somebody to walk around with a big booger on their face.
I see what both of you are saying, and like it's like a balance between the two. Because at times, like what host Eric was just saying, it's like sometimes you give away your authority. Like sometimes you know you're right, and instead of saying, you know, like this is my opinion, sometimes it's okay to speak very directly and talk your point because it's more likely for the other person to hear it or to take it instead of, you know, if sometimes when you say things like, oh, this is my opinion, or you kind of like chill about it, they might fight you on it when it's something that they shouldn't be, when like in a situation where you know you're right.
Here's the other thing is, remember too, there's the issue of who's putting trash on whose table, right? So if somebody's making a claim, anytime somebody makes a claim, they're putting trash down on your table unless it's a sound claim, in which case they're putting food down on your table and then you can eat that food. But if they're
I don't feel the same way about it.
Okay, tell us.
It's just like I can just reject it. I can sense whether or not I like it, and I don't have to go through the whole process.
But what's at stake is not. I'm hungry too. What's at stake is not just what you think about it. It's its status in the world as true or false. What do you think about that?
Well,
I-
the most
Go ahead. Nick,
most
bro.
it makes more sense for me to concentrate on my own actions than on someone else's, because I spend the most time controlling my own actions. I don't really care about what someone else does.
Don't you try to tell me your FI is more logically sound than my FE, Megabro. Are you trying to tell me that? That's okay. I'm joking again. I think that actually, my take on it is FI makes so much more logical sense than FE for exactly that reason. Why would I be so worried about your emotions when I can worry about myself, the only one I can actually change, you know?
I think FE and FI aren't like separate. I feel like you use them both if you use one. Like, I mean, I feel like they work in tandem. Because like what for FE to establish like these social okay, like say you're arguing and you want to argue a certain way, like JC was saying, your way sounds harsh to me, kind of harsh, the way that you argue. Well, she has a whole system built up of how, through FE, like that's her FE, of how an interaction should happen. Like social rules, how you should interact
I think
with me.
it's about
Otherwise,
how it makes her feel. I think it's about how it makes her feel.
Well, no,
I think the
but
harshness makes her feel bad. Jay-Z,
Yes.
Jay-Z, you're here. You tell me. Which is it? Is it a rule about how social interactions ought to go, or is it because it makes you feel bad?
It's
But they're both
definitely
true.
not a rule. Okay, here's the thing.
No, they're
Here's the
not.
thing with
One
the
of them is true and one of them is false. You're
It
wrong
makes me
about this.
feel a little sick.
You're wrong about this because so you don't like it either. It makes you feel a little sick. Because to me, it just feels like we're in the ball pit now. Let's throw them around. You know.
Like, I laugh because I know you think it's funny, so I guess that's a little bit FE. But I think it's more like it's like with the rules, just to address the fact that he's saying I'm coming up with these social rules. I say I don't know that they're rules. Like, number one, I'm trying. It's not something I always follow. I'm trying to articulate what I see myself doing. That's what I don't know that there are rules that I've like established or anything like that. It's just like, oh,
I would need to reword it.
Okay,
But-
reword. You get a
Basically,
reword.
What I'm saying is, I feel like, okay, if you decide his way of speaking or arguing a point is obviously crossing your feelings the wrong way, okay? So you could say, like, that's FI, right? Or it's hurting your internal... But at the same time, just looking at it from a different perspective, couldn't it also be FE? Like, because it's... You have a social...
Explain it. Let me explain how it actually happens, because it happened to me the other day. I was sitting there trying to feel an emotion, and immediately, as I started trying to feel it, it switched over to me explaining to other people how I was trying to feel this emotion and what that experience was like. And that's how I was experiencing the emotion, was through that filter in my head. It happened like
you abstracted from the emotion. You were talking about the feeling of the emotion, your experience of, right?
Yeah,
Or,
I couldn't hold on to experiencing it. As soon as I tried to hold on to experiencing it, it switched over to something that had an audience.
Yeah. Well, but there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, because the experience of something is only the direct experience of
There's
it.
nothing
It comes
wrong
and
with
goes.
it. There's nothing wrong with it. What I'm saying is it contradicts what your claim was about using them concurrently.
I'm not saying necessarily you use them at the exact same time. I just feel as systems, they absolutely rely on one another. Like, you can't have
Okay,
FE.
okay, they rely on each other. Okay, fine.
I mean, I think what I'm
agree.
saying is I think it's
they're
hard
like
to say
the same thing,
something
right?
is pure FI. Like, the way she reacts to your argument, or, like, whatever.
The way I react, but my reaction is usually laughter. Because I'm just saying, like, but the way I feel about it is like, man, ouch.
Do you feel tense? Does it make you go like, I gotta have to leave the room? Because I feel tense about certain kind of things immediately when I watch it. It makes me want to leave the room.
It makes me not want to join in the conversation. I'm just gonna sit in the background and listen.
Okay. Yubi, go ahead.
I'm just saying, can't we track where those feelings are coming from, though? Like, what I'm saying is, there's got to be a system of thought that builds where the feeling comes from. Because you say he talks in a certain way.
They come from
your
the
feelings. You feel off about how he's speaking, but so you obviously either consciously or subconsciously have an idea of how he should speak, so it wouldn't cross your feelings. Like, the feelings don't just come out of thin air. Like,
well, where do you think they grow on trees, Yubi? Are you telling us that feelings grow on trees?
They're coming from a thought system, like the way you view something, or the way you think about something, the way you feel about something, you equals the way you feel about it.
Oh, wait a second, Ubi. What's your type?
An INTP.
Oh, okay.
Ubi, you just told us the way you feel about something is the way you feel about it.
Oh, I said the way. I said the way you feel about something, the way you think about something. They work vice versa. If you think a certain way about something, then you're going to feel a certain way about it. So if I think in my head, subconsciously or consciously, when someone's arguing with me, they should argue in this way, and then they don't argue that way, then my feelings get hurt because they're not talking to me in a way that I deem socially or acceptable, like, so it won't hurt my feelings.
Okay, well, to me, though, you're describing a way of being wrong, because that argumentation is not something that's subject to feelings. Argumentation is how we progress as a civilization. It's important. It's like saying, oh, I'm not going to turn on the electricity and the water today because I feel like it's kind of bad luck. I don't know. I have a feeling about it.
I think we're missing each other's points, because I'm not saying argumentation is bad at all or anything like that. I'm tackling your point right away. I'm saying, okay, I understand what you're saying. Some people have these feelings. You're describing something, and I'm saying, well, that's not good. They shouldn't have feelings about that at all, because it's like saying I have feelings that should trump whether or not the water gets pumped or the electricity goes to your house. Same thing as saying I have feelings about whether I should have to defend my point. If I have a position and it reflects upon it suggests other people should do something or whatever, then, or if I want to be like, wow, this is blah, then you should be able to stand there and go, okay, and here's why, right? Yes, you're completely allowed to do that. Like, I'm not arguing against that. Yeah, I agree. I'm not saying JC shouldn't be, like, I know I was addressing you, JC, a lot during that. I'm not saying you, the way host Eric argues or whatever, shouldn't bother you.
I'm saying that, JC, you don't have enough rational justification for your feelings, okay? That's the problem here. That's the problem. This is the problem with feelers. They always think they can get away with having feelings that aren't rationally justified.
Come on.
I never said that my feelings weren't justified or anything. You asked me a question and I answered it. Okay.
I'm just fucking around. I have no idea what we're talking about.
You asked me why do you think is fight? Like, why don't I fight or why don't I argue?
Right.
You were asking me that question. So right. I then articulated my thought. That is what happened.
I know. I agree with you. Whatever your thought was, I'm going on the agreeing side.
But the thing is, like, I'm good at FE. Well, if you go based on socionics, right? FE is my 6th slot. So I'm going to be good at that, but that's not what I'm focused on at all. Like, I don't care well, that's not true. I do care about how other people feel, but it's based inherently on a system that I've built up inside of myself. It's not based on this outer world type of. It's not like, oh, Eric should talk this way because society says she should talk this way, or because these are the rules of engagement. It's like I've realized through personal experience that when I say things this way, this is how things work out, and I like this outcome much better than this other outcome. This outcome makes me feel much better than this outcome B. Eric is doing things that equal outcome B. I want Eric to do outcome A, but I'm not going to enforce that on him. That's not like rules that I've established that I think everyone should follow. It's just my personal feeling about it. But it's not like I'm not saying he's doing anything wrong. That's the way he talks is fine. I think it's funny.
Yeah, JC, you actually have nothing to defend here. I'm quite certain that nobody defended at all. I was just making jokes. I understand that being quite so abrasive doesn't necessarily play well in certain contexts, in certain circumstances. I understand there are certain types who want to leave the room just as I do when I think there's any potential for what I consider awkwardness on a live television program. Like if they're interviewing people kind of at random or something, I can't watch it, I'm concerned. Additionally, I understand that people have, emotional reactions to things that determine their behavior. A lot of people that are even if that would disagree with what I consider to be a logical conclusion to draw. So I totally get what you're saying. It makes perfect sense. It's something I go back and forth on, right? This is why I want to have so many different videos also is I get in different moods. I'm in a goofy mood tonight. I was just sort of fucking around and being, I think maybe it's what's his name, rubbing off on me. INTP Red Dusky Racer is rubbing off on me and making me goofy or something. I don't know. But, yeah, so I like to have a lot of different videos because I have a lot of different moods and a lot of different kinds of fun I want to have. And so that lets me, like I said, bury mistakes. If I screw up and I'm too harsh in one, well, I'll be overly nice in the next one. I'll overcompensate or something like that, So basically, that's that video. Thanks for watching Talking with Famous People. And as always, I'd like to ask you, especially this time, more than usual even, although usually for sure a lot, to not forget to remember to eat. Not forget to remember to eat plenty of cheese.